Hello, welcome to the PhoneWord Forum for Wednesday, January 28th, 2015. It is 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and on today's PhoneWord Forum, we're going to be talking about blockchain technology. What is it? What does it mean? And what are the potential disruptive promises of blockchain technology, and how might it be applied towards the initiatives that are underway in the telecommunications industry, and in particular the transition from the legacy public switch telephone network into an all IP environment. So I expect we might have a few folks joining us a little bit later on, but can't be certain of that. So we're just going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to start talking about blockchain technology. What is this? And I'm fairly new to blockchain technology. I only started focusing on it about, I would say about 45 days ago or so. So this is a realm that's I'm just new to, and I've been doing some research regarding blockchain technology. What is it? How can it be applied? And I'm rather struck by the broad base of use cases that are being talked about for blockchain technology. So let's go ahead and get started. There is a presentation on PhoneWord.com under the PhoneWord Forum, and we will take a look at that right now and start going through it. So you should be able to see the presentation at this point. This is just the introduction page, and this is just a graphic that is being used to represent blockchain technology. Looks like a motorcycle chain or what have you. So today we're going to be talking about blockchain technology as an introduction, and also disruption potential. And in particular, we're going to be looking at how does blockchain technology compare to Wikipedia. And I'm using Wikipedia as an item that I'm guessing is familiar to most people, that's been a phenomenon that's sort of emerged, that is a radically different model regarding decentralization, regarding authority, and regarding sort of crowd participation. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also look at a few YouTube presentations that are on blockchain technology, one from a legal view, another from a technical view, and the third giving an entrepreneurial view. And then in the end, we'll just ask, where is the opportunity here, or where might the opportunity be? So that's the agenda for today. And to get right into the presentation, so is blockchain technology like Wikipedia's impact and disruption? So for those of you that might not be familiar with Wikipedia, Wikipedia is the free encyclopedia that is a global phenomenon that is basically crowdsourced. So in other words, anybody can go on and make a post onto Wikipedia. You can say whatever you like, and there's a community around Wikipedia that basically focuses on the content of the platform, and there's sort of a challenge mechanism that's going on all the time in Wikipedia to distill and bring forth the accuracy of what's being presented on the platform. And it's emerged as basically like a crowdsourced authority on information and topics. So how is this like blockchain? Well, I think it's a lot like blockchain, actually. And we'll go into that in a little more detail later on in the presentation. But let's take a look at some specifics. As I mentioned, there's a decentralized authority with Wikipedia, although this is not totally true because Wikipedia does have a centralized community that's responsible for combing through the content of Wikipedia, doing some monitoring regarding, the content that goes into Wikipedia. So there is more of a centralization in Wikipedia than I would say there is with blockchain. And by the way, blockchain technology is often collapsed with the predominant cryptocurrency, which is called Bitcoin. So often you'll hear blockchain and Bitcoin sort of uh, mixed throughout a conversation, but really we're looking at blockchain as the underlying structure of Bitcoin, and we're looking at blockchain technology to some degree in the realm of cryptocurrency, but in many respects outside of the realm of cryptocurrency. So to continue, there is a certain trust that's emerged around Wikipedia. So it used to be, and I'll go into this a little bit more in the next few slides, but it used to be that we trusted for our sort of our definitive information source, something like Encyclopedia Britannica, or when I was growing up, it was World Book. So there were a couple different competing encyclopedia companies, and we trusted them to go out, compile accurate information, talk to experts, and write. Basically, about once a year, they would issue a new set of encyclopedias which had updated information, maybe corrected information, and so it was a once a year phenomenon in general. But we were really relying upon, or the people that used encyclopedias in the past were trusting and relying upon companies like Encyclopedia Britannica and World Book to curate and be sort of the trust factor regarding the accuracy of the information. Well, that all changed when Wikipedia came on the scene. All of a sudden, there was this crowdsourced, distributed, decentralized set of contributors that were putting information into this repository, if you will, that became a trusted authority. So something similar is going on with blockchain technology, where all of a sudden there's the trust is part of the crowd or the community that is involved with a particular blockchain. And another very interesting element that's emerging is that this whole process is dynamic. So versus static. So in the traditional encyclopedia realm, it used to be that you had this printed book. Once it was printed, that was pretty much it. Now, Encarta came along and made it more dynamic, but Encarta was, again, this centralized trust, trusting basically Microsoft to be the curator of the information. And that centralized trust was basically trumped by Wikipedia because it became much more dynamic, a much broader community of contributors for the information source. So whatever effort went into Encarta from Microsoft was basically trumped by the Wikipedia model of crowdsourcing information. And when I say dynamic, I mean that new things can be added to either Wikipedia or, let's say, new blockchains can be created. One thing to keep in mind is once the blockchain is in place, then it becomes sort of immutable and static. So the history of the blockchain is static, but that it can't be changed. But as the blockchain grows, that is a dynamic process. The other element that I think is interesting is that Wikipedia is a global phenomenon. It's in many, many languages around the world, and people from around the world, as best as I can tell, contribute to the knowledge repository that's in Wikipedia. Well, the same thing seems to be shaping up with blockchain technology, where it is a global phenomenon. It spans all cultures, and all the people that are participating in the blockchain verification process are contributing to the trust factor and the authority factor that is building in the blockchain phenomenon. Another factor that's the two have in common is that blockchain and Wikipedia represent a lower cost or free platform for this trust, either trust of knowledge or trust of currency or trust of transactions in the case of blockchain. So the next element I think they share in common is that Wikipedia is based upon a history of changes and that are always being challenged. Well, the same is true in blockchain. You've got multiple participants in the Wikipedia platform and blockchain that are following the history of changes and challenging those changes. So the bottom line is that it seems to me, from what I've studied, there's going to be the potential for a very broad and very profound impact is in the blockchain technology. And I'm rather surprised at how fundamental and profound this blockchain technology seems to be in a vast array of applications and use cases. The other thing I'd like to say about blockchain technology is that it seems to be, the fundamental seems to take from age-old processes of title history. So for a long time, we've all experienced title history tracking certainly in real estate transactions and other areas, maybe in patents, other repositories that we look to trust for the authority around something. However, the difference here is that the trust and the authority in blockchain becomes decentralized. It's not looking to any set of individuals or entities to provide that authority. And that, I think, is extremely powerful. But the fundamental construct, let's say, is very much akin to a title history that's associated with a piece of land. And we'll go into some of the terminology a little bit later. So the next slide is talking about, okay, this blockchain technology, if in fact it really ushers in something as disruptive as Wikipedia was to the encyclopedia industry, what is there to do? So how can this new realm of decentralized authority and trust repository be leveraged? In particular, if you find yourself in a business that's akin to where the encyclopedia business was just before Wikipedia was introduced, what is the opportunity set here? because if indeed this blockchain technology is as disruptive as people are saying it is, then it's really time to pay attention to this and take a look at, okay, what is the new opportunity set here? So this analogy, if you will, is not completely a one-to-one analogy, because there is some significant difference between blockchain technology and Wikipedia and existing businesses and industries that are centralized versus this decentralized construct that's now coming on the scene. So to go to the next slide, which is slide 8, I've selected 3 TED Talks that talk about blockchain technology from 3 different views. The first TED Talk that I selected was from a Belgian tax attorney, and he talks about blockchain technology, and to a large degree he's talking about blockchain technology in the context of Bitcoin, but he's talking about that from a legal standpoint. Now, he's in this YouTube video, and I'm going to skip ahead one so you can see the actual video. Thomas Spass, I believe it is. And the video, I believe, is about 17 minutes long or so. And you see the link where you can connect to it. But in this video, he talks about decentralization as one of the key points around blockchain technology, and in his case, in his example, Bitcoin. And I think that is definitely the interesting element of blockchain technology. And that occurs about 9 minutes and 2 seconds into his video. Then about 13 minutes and 45 seconds into the video, he starts to talk about blockchain technology applied to property rights, identification, and in particular, domain names. So when I saw about, towards the end of last year in December, when I saw that this technology could be applied to domain names, that's really what piqued my interest in blockchain technology. So some of the people looking at this presentation are in the legacy telephone number arena, and you might be going, well, so what? What is this all about, Jay? Blockchain technology, that sounds like a far-fetched thing. I've heard about Bitcoin, but it really doesn't apply to me. Well, when you start to apply this to domain names, it definitely applies, because what we've been talking about in the industry is taking legacy telephone numbers and creating a sort of counterpart, fully qualified domain name that is internet compatible and rich media dynamic, and that is definitely a domain name. Even though it looks like, might operate like at some level, a legacy telephone number, you are really talking about domain names. In the ENUM, which is electronic number mapping space, which we've been talking about for about a year now, well, actually over a decade, but in terms of end user opt-in ENUM, we've been talking about that as applied to the transition from the public switch telephone network into an all IP network. When you're talking about ENUM, you're really talking about domain names. You are talking about a registry that contains domain names that are maybe derived from telephone numbers, but are actually fully qualified domain names. So that's one of the key points that I'd like to highlight in this presentation. If you're hearing about blockchain technology for the first time and your focus is in the public switch telephone network, and you're looking at, okay, what's going to happen as we transition from the PSTN into an all IP network, and you're going, hey, this blockchain technology stuff doesn't have anything to do with me, I really recommend you consider that this might very well be right on point. Very much, well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I think you'll see that others are saying that this blockchain technology really is a time that's akin to 1994, 1993, just as the internet was starting to emerge. So the other point that Thomas Spass makes, and that's 16 minutes and 25 seconds into the video, is that blockchain technology is really a communications protocol. And I think that is yet another key point that you have to keep in mind as you're looking at blockchain technology. And by the way, we did a session, in fact, the last session that we did on the PhoneWord workshops, where we talked about blockchain technology and how it might fit together with a federated enum set of registries and WebRTC. So I think that definitely ties into this element of domain names and communications protocols. And I don't know exactly how this is going to come together, and if blockchain technology is going to be a fit and appropriate for what's been talked about in terms of enum or end user opt-in enum and WebRTC. But my sense is, as I learn more about blockchain technology, it looks like it's looking more and more like it is a fit. So that's the legal view. And again, this YouTube video is about 17 minutes. And I just picked 3 key points that struck me as I was watching this video that are relevant to at least the North American industry in communications and telephony. So the next video is also a TED Talk, and it's by a fellow named Jeremy Rubin, who is, and I'm going to skip ahead one slide. So Jeremy Rubin is the technical director of the MIT Bitcoin project. And I think you'll, and this was published on December 23rd, 2014. And it's, I can't remember it's about a 16-minute video. So to go back, the 3 points that I picked out of Jeremy's talk was that blockchain is really a unique identifier. And he starts to talk about that 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the video. And he compares how blockchain technology is similar to serial numbers on United States currency. And one of the points that he really emphasizes is that the whole blockchain technology is really just exchanging numbers. So in the PhoneWord workshops event that we had a few weeks ago, it came up, how scalable is this blockchain technology? Because one of the things that we've heard about is that there's huge computer processing power that's out there in the world that's being dedicated to what's called proof of work inside this blockchain technology. And there's some questions that are being raised about, okay, just how scalable and how viable is Bitcoin as this, to verify the chain, you've got to add more and more computer power to it. Well, one of the things that I think Jeremy Rubin starts to emphasize is that under a proof of work platform and approach, yes, you need more and more computer power as time goes on. But there's also something called proof of stake around blockchain technology. And that could require significantly less computer power and might be open the door for this to really, really be scalable. The other thing that I'd like to mention regarding the scalability of this is that, from the people that are in this arena that are talking about the applications, I'm not getting any sense that there's some sort of scalability limitation other than the computing power that's required around proof of work versus proof of stake. I'd also like to emphasize that this blockchain technology is still relatively in its infancy in terms of it being applied to other areas outside of cryptocurrency. So, but it's also moving rather rapidly in my view. And at the December PhoneWord forum, I talked about a company called Ethereum, which has emerged within the last 12 months, that is creating a platform that takes this blockchain technology and actually starts to add some logic and some programmability to it. And that's very, very interesting in my view. So the second key point that Jeremy Rubin makes is that blockchain technology is dependent upon a public ledger. So what is that? Well, that harkens back to what I was talking about in terms of a land title or a history of ownership that's housed and trusted in a particular repository. Now, the repository that we normally look at is some sort of like county recorder's office. Well, the public ledger in the blockchain technology is decentralized. So it's a ledger that's held among multiple computers, multiple locations, and it's constantly being checked. And I think that's the nuance that's very, very powerful in this realm. And then 9 minutes and eight seconds into this, Jeremy goes into a fairly detailed explanation of blockchain. What is it? How does it work? What are some of the considerations? And what are some of the different variances on blockchain? So I recommend this video to take a look at as sort of an introduction into the technical aspects of blockchain technology. So moving forward, the last of the 3 TED Talks is by a fellow named Michael Turpin, and he is an entrepreneur. I don't know much about him other than he seems to be in the Silicon Valley area, and he seems to have a pretty good background in technology, marketing technology, angel investing, and so forth. And he's been in the blockchain arena and interested in this for, it appears to be a little over a year, maybe a year and a half. So his video is about 9 minutes and 40 seconds, I believe. But one of the things he starts off with is that he was struck when he started to take a deeper look into blockchain technology. He was struck at how much the people, the promise, the depth of the use cases was very similar to the internet, and the internet back in 1994, basically. And he says that about 57 seconds into his presentation. So, he talks a little bit about that's really where he places blockchain technology in terms of the potential impact. The other part is he mentions 5 minutes and 4 seconds into this that one of the areas of application for blockchain is in payments as well as funding. And he cites some rather astonishing reports of funding that's occurred And this seems to be more and more a phenomenon that's occurring more and more frequently. Ethereum, for example, the company that was talked about in the December PhoneWord forum, which is about a year old, which is building a, let's say, a smart blockchain platform, somewhere around the middle of last year raised $18.4 million in what they call a crowd sale. And, you know, I'm not sure, I don't know the legal intricacies of exactly what they did, but these funding mechanisms look very much like an initial public offering, only with a fraction, if any, of the friction that's associated with a public offering. So the other thing that Michael Turpin mentions in this entrepreneurial TED Talk regarding blockchain technology is he talks about the potential for blockchain technology, which is a decentralized construct, to disrupt centralized platforms. And again, this harkens back to the comparison of Wikipedia, which I categorize as a decentralized platform, how it was disruptive to the centralized platform of legacy encyclopedia sets and encyclopedia companies. So those are the three, I mean, each one of these three speakers, be it in the legal, the technical, or the entrepreneurial realm, make a bunch of different points about blockchain technology and Bitcoin and where it's at and where it might go and where it might be applied and so forth. But just to keep it as simple as possible and just to give people a taste of what this is, I've just picked three key points that you know, struck me as being pretty powerful and pretty profound. So that brings us to pretty much the conclusion, and the conclusion is really not a conclusion, it's a question, because I don't think you can really conclude anything at this point regarding blockchain technology other than Bitcoin has gone from zero to about a $3.6 billion cap in since 2010. I think 2010 was the first time that a Bitcoin trade was made. The paper that was published proposing blockchain technology in Bitcoin was released sometime in 2008. It took a few years for people to kind of digest that, and then it's my understanding sometime around 2010 somebody paid 10,000 Bitcoins for a pizza, which would be worth millions now, or some astronomical amount of money now. But anyway, somewhere around 2010 is my understanding of when the first Bitcoin trade occurred for some sort of good or service. So this is very new. People have heard about Bitcoin, they've heard about cryptocurrency, they're starting to play around with it. But what I think is really, really interesting is the underlying technology under the cryptocurrencies, which is blockchain technology. How can that be applied in areas outside of blockchain? So that's really the question. I don't have the answer. I don't think anybody does at this point, but it looks like the attention and the volume on this conversation is increasing, and I'm sure that people are going to start experimenting with blockchain technologies in a variety of areas, and some of those areas are mentioned in the three TED Talks that I've highlighted. But I think it's very interesting, very compelling, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to innovate. So that's pretty much it. You can find all this information on PHONEWORD.com underneath the PhoneWord forum. You can find this presentation, and you're welcome to download it and use it. So that's pretty much it for the presentation. Let me hop. We do have some viewers, so I'm going to pretty much leave it at that. I appreciate people's time and attention and taking a look at this video and considering this new realm of blockchain technology. I'm guessing that it seems rather exotic, rather strange. However, as one of the presenters in the TED Talks mentioned, so did the internet back about, 2 decades ago. The internet seemed very strange, very exotic, very technical, and look at the profound impact that the internet has had just in 20 years. One of the things that's highlighted in the TED Talks is that anybody with basically a cell phone can, and I assume text messaging, can start to interact with this blockchain technology and the cryptocurrencies. That's very powerful because there's over 5 billion mobile phones out there around the world, and the proliferation of smartphones and basically computers in our pockets is expanding at a rapidly increasing pace. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. What's coming up on February the 11th, we'll be having another PhoneWord workshop, which is a complimentary, it's an event and set of events that's separate from the PhoneWord forums, but they complement one another. And the PhoneWord workshops events are more of a technical presentation. Hopefully we're close to actually having some working items up and running that people can experiment with. We can code, we can add code and build code on an open source platform. So the next PhoneWord Workshops event will be on Wednesday, February the 11th, 2015 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're technically inclined, I invite you to join that event. And that'll be for about an hour or so. We'll see. And then the next PhoneWord workshops will be on February the 18th, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And again, that will be more of a technical conversation. And then the next PhoneWord forum will be on Wednesday, February 25th, 2015. And this I'm really looking forward to because we will have Dr. Robin Hanson on from George Mason University, who is an expert in prediction markets. And we're going to be talking about some new approaches to network security from a market view. And I think there are some very timely developments that are occurring where this could be a very, very interesting conversation for folks. So that's pretty much it. Again, my name is Jay Carpenter of the PhoneWord Forum. Go to PhoneWord, PHONEWORD.com, and you can look up my contact information. I invite you to contact me if you have any questions. I appreciate your time and your attention. And if you have any suggestions, any areas that you'd like to explore, please contact me and let me know. So with that, I will say goodbye for today, and I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day.